5 minutes now after 9 on a Falcon Friday morning, the 22nd day of October. It's time now for Newsmakers. Newsmakers, a service of WYTM.
Newsmakers was recorded on Monday, the 18th of October. We'll replay this program, and following the end of the program, we'll have a couple of answers to questions that did come up during that broadcast.
Mr. Bradford is not here. He has the flu, so we will say hope a speedy return for him, and maybe we'll hear from him prior to the election on some of the views that we may discuss here. We'll talk about our little small ground rules, whatever they are, but first we'll say good morning to everyone. And we have, first of all,
Ray Moffett. I'm a native Lincoln Countyan. I'm retired from a mental refrigeration, which is a subsidiary of Raytheon, now known as Goodman. 29 years in the business world, involved in a lot of community activities with young people, and understand all that. Given service to the military, and I am here to serve the people and appreciate any help anybody give me.
Thank you, Ray. What's that TSSAA? Were you a referee? I am. I'm a super. I assign officials to schools. In fact, 96 from Swanee Mountain to so I'm involved that way too. So any of those bad calls down the pit, we just give you a call?
Well, yeah. I don't know what I'll do for you, but just give me a call.
Okay. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for being here. Jim Hereford, good morning to you, and how are you?
Good morning, Joe, and thanks so much for allowing us to be here this morning. I'm James Strong Hereford, Jr. That's a pretty long handle. I'm sometimes known as Jim, Jimmy, and even sometimes people call me Jim Strong. I'm a native of Fayetteville, Lincoln County. I was raised in the Kelso community, and I've lived in Fayetteville now for a number of years, about 20 to be exact, after coming in here from the big city of Kelso. I have also served. I've served pretty much all my life. I went into the Reserve Officer Training Corps when it wasn't terribly popular back in the late 60s, and I served 2 years as an airborne armor lieutenant in that period of time. I'm married to the former Bonnie K. Carter. One-time marriage. I hope that's the last. I've served on a number of boards and commissions. I've served as an alderman now for the last 6 years, and I certainly hope to serve another 4 years in the service of the citizens of Fayetteville. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We'll have to check with Bonnie on that long-term marriage, okay?
Well, let's hope so, yes.
Gwen, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm Gwen Shelton. I'm married to Scott Shelton. We have 2 boys, Nevada and Cooper. I'm involved in a lot of different activities, also in organizations. I've been on the city school board for 4 years, and obviously I think education is a very strong point for me, and I help the senior citizens out when needed. Any of their fundraisers, I've gone, picked up donuts for them, always helping the seniors and not forgetting about that portion of our community. And I'm just proud to be one of the candidates. And just want to let you know, if elected, I'm here to serve you, the taxpayers of the city. Thank you.
And you're a teacher now as well?
Oh, yes. I've taught the last several years at MTSU, but 9 weeks ago, I took a job within the county at Flintville. I'm excited. It's different teaching middle school children versus college students, but it's a new challenge, and I look forward to continuing there. Thank you.
Good morning, Joe. I'm Walter Sloan. I'm a lifelong resident of Fayetteville. My wife and I have 2 sons, Larry and David, and 3 grandsons. If you've seen my ads, their pictures on there rather than mine. They certainly are more photogenic.
We don't see ads on the radio.
Yes, we do. I dressed up this morning with that confusion. I have served 4 years on the city board of mayor and alderman, and I'm proud of that service. Prior to that, I've been involved with the American Red Cross for 30-plus years. I am the oldest active member of the Fayetteville Fire Department in seniority, 33 years as a volunteer firefighter, having received the Volunteer of the Year award 5 times. I'm very proud of that and some of the things that have come from that. I'm a graduate of Leadership Lincoln County. I am a graduate of the University of Tennessee Local Government Leadership Program. I am currently serving on the Tennessee Department of Transportational Regional Advisory Committee. Along with the other duties of the Aldermanic Board, I'm on the Street and Sanitation Committee, former member of the Gas Board, where Mr. Moffett and I shared together as we worked to energize our community and bring more gas supply in with the Southwest gas line, and then now the refurbishment of the 50-year-old lateral line that's coming in out of the Northeast. Serve on the Recreation Board, on the Cable Television Committee, and other duties as assigned. And I appreciate the opportunity to serve. On November the 2nd, the citizens will elect 3 aldermen. There's 3 seats to fill. I'd like to have one of them.
Well, that's not being too greedy, just 1 out of 3. It's always fun. Now, right at this point, we're going to go around the horn quickly and just mention. We're not going to go into detail about anything about, let's take, say, we'll take one issue right now that will, you as a potential alderman, whether you're an incumbent or seeking the election, that you feel ought to be addressed here today. So we'll just go around the horn. You can come up with one, whatever it might be, and we may do this a couple of times before we actually get down into some other questions so that everybody will know kind of what to expect, what we're looking for here. We, prior to going on the air, have discussed with the aldermen basically one thing, that we're not going to get into personalities. We're not going to get into those folks that aren't represented here, that either by various heads of department or by aldermen that might not be here, or the other elected officials, as in the mayor and whatever else. Now, we have an opportunity following this program to come up with specific questions that might relate to some research, something that we should, for the public interest, have folks, whoever they may be, to come up with some facts and figures or whatever else that might be of interest or general knowledge, public record that the people here, our broadcast community, would want to hear. And that's kind of what we'll do. So, Ray, you got something that you think ought to be brought up here just very briefly? We're not going to go into discussion yet.
Well, I'd like to bring up the Fayetteville Public Utilities. The cost, we know we got a debt on a telecom.
Okay, you're talking about the consolidation, since the consolidation. Okay, thank you. We will get into that one. Jim?
I would like to determine how we can best, from the city government, create an atmosphere of growth potential for Fayetteville and also with Lincoln County in order to attract our young people back to Fayetteville. I get a lot of comments about people not being able to find a position for their next generation. And we'd like to
thank you.
Yes. Some concerns that the taxpayers brought to me was keeping them better informed, such as the consolidation, and why they didn't have the information to at least come forth in an open forum and discuss it, and that was one area that I think we need to talk about.
And Walter?
You know, the quality of life issues that we have, whether it be education or recreation or our business, retail, and commercial development, those are issues that it behooves us to look at as time goes along and we try to grow our community.
Okay, we're going to start right now with this one because we're right here with it, fresh on our minds, and we will readdress the one you're just talking about and put that in a form, how that relates to you as a board member or potential alderman. How this impacts Fayetteville and how it impacts our citizenry, and we'll see how the other folks feel about this as well.
Okay, quality of life issues, and especially how do we develop our commercial and retail, I think is something that's important. And we have some commercial and retail development going on now. Down at the Bypass, Walgreens is bringing in a new store. The other retail development has taken options on some property around town that hopefully they will develop as time goes along. And I think what we need to do is to identify the need within the community, either through surveys or whatever, identify that need, and then actively recruit the commercial and retail that we see the community wishes to have. It's difficult to do because there's so much competition, and it's expensive to develop chain stores or even private industry, and we certainly don't want to impact our existing. We want to help them grow and develop, but also where we have target areas, I think we need to actively recruit them, and even to the point as we have incentives for industrial development, maybe we need to look at incentives of retail and commercial development, also helping those people to come here and make Fayetteville a better place for all of our citizens, because we have a vested interest in our retail and commercial, because $2.6 million of sales tax comes from retail. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, on the quality of life, and I won't touch much on the retail part of it, but I will go in quality of life with anybody coming to the community. They're looking at education and recreation in that area. Obviously, I think we have a strong school system within our city. I'm proud to be a part of that and have my children attending. But the recreation area, I have some people who have moved into this community, and they look at that as a venting and taking their children out. And as far as, we've got to be more progressive there. We've got to continue to look at our rec center and bring it up to the 21st century, because the surrounding counties have brought theirs in, because when father or mother at work, we need to have a place where our children can go and be safe, and there's some type of security and supervision going on there. And again, you can't ask more for education. That's a key to bringing in any new industry. Any mother and father obviously looks at education as the key, one of the key aspects there.
As far as commercial retail, I think we sort of hide our light under a bushel sometimes. We've got a lot of things here in the community, and we just don't honestly disclose to people coming in what we've got. They do a wonderful job at the Chamber of Commerce. I think we can continue to support the Chamber of Commerce. I think we've got an industrial development board that has a lot of potential. I was on county commission, Ray, back during the time when that was started. Matter of fact, I was one of the founding members of the Industrial Development Corporation. And at that time, we didn't seem to be focused on a joint effort. We need to have a joint effort. We need to have a better communication between our city and our county government. And we need to look to the future, and we need to do a good job at promotion. But in order to promote, we've got to look at ourselves and see what qualities we've got to promote. We brought cable TV into Lincoln County, high-speed internet. At the time we brought that in at the Fayetteville electric system at the time, we felt like that would be a major enhancement in order to step into the 21st century, to cross that digital divide. Our community is on the leading edge. I sometimes wonder whether or not we, get that out to the public. Do we promote that with our various industries that are looking at our community? That's just a number of things I think we can do. Better communication, better promotion for our community.
Thanks, Jim. Ray, how do you stand on quality of life here?
Well, I would agree with most statements made by these other candidates. I think the first step that we need to keep in mind is to help those that's already located in the community, and that goes for the private plus industry coming in. I don't think we really look at them. We offer help. We need to find another way to help these people to make it better here in the community.
Do you have any suggestions how we might? How would you suggest?
Well, I didn't know we was going to get into details.
Well, we don't. I was going to go back and ask each of them. I almost asked Jim,
but I know in industry that it's a struggle to stay in business in there, and I feel that we are trying to get other industry in here, which is great. We need to get that. We need to have a job offer. But you need to take a look at what you can do for your own here, and that's ways and means and training, helping them get training and all this kind of stuff that keeps them in business out there.
Jim, briefly on that, is the same question I asked him. How we do this?
Oh, you don't forget your own. I mean, you always consider the one that brought you to the dance. And we've got some wonderful industries here. Ray was with Amana. I don't know what in the world we would have done without Amana and now Goodman. In the 95-96 period, we were somewhat abandoned by some key industries, and there was a major effort to go out and secure some additional industries. And we've gotten some really good industries.
Gwen? How do you answer this as well?
I think Jim is exactly right. We don't need to forget our own, the people who have been here and have been around, as far as Copperwell and even Goodman, even Frito-Lay. I mean, they're here, they're employing our citizens and our taxpayers, and we need to obviously take care of them, first before we start, I think, bringing more in.
Certainly we take care of the ones that are here and offer to them the things that they need. One of the problems that I have seen is the quality of the worker, their educational training, and we had the Sundquist Center come in, and it has not been as great an asset to the community as we would have liked for it to be. However, it does offer some things. Motlow College is a wonderful resource here that people need to use, and industry needs to avail themselves of these opportunities. If we'd better train our worker and bring them to our industries, because that's one of the problems that our industries are running into, is to finding qualified workers who can do the job. We have 5,500 people who leave Lincoln County every day to work. 3,300 of those go to Huntsville. Those are our higher trained, better trained, and I think that we need to look for resources to bring them back to the community, industries to bring them back to the community, and there's certainly, if our local industries have need for those, they need to be recruiting those, but we need to improve our workforce abilities.
Thank you, Laura. Back to our initial question in here now. Gwen, you have yours.
Yes. Some of the concerns of some of the taxpayers in the last couple of weeks I've been out campaigning was the consolidation. Why wasn't the community informed when the consolidation came through? And they asked me how I felt about that. And I said, as an elected official, there are times when you have to make decisions without taking some type of survey. But I felt like this particular one, since it affected everybody in our community, as far as I think it was something that should have been brought forward in some type of forum other than the vote and then it pretty much passed. And I guess another concern was when there's some figureheads who didn't know that the consolidation was in the make. The perception was maybe it was a backdoor type deal, and I think that's not good to say anything for our community. Anytime something as large as this comes through, the community needs to know, especially other figureheads who should have had some type of say-so in it.
How do you answer that, Jim?
Again, communication. I think the communication was there. I'm just not sure that there was a reception of the communication. When I first came on the board in 1998, we determined we ought to have a retreat as a city board. We ought to go up and try to develop a strategic plan for the city of Fayetteville. At that time, we realized that consolidation of utilities perhaps was an issue that should be addressed. We started working on that at that point in time, 98, 2000. We worked on it for a number of months. We called in the what we call MTAS, Municipal Comprehensive, whatever the assistance. I can't think of the acronym now, but anyway, it's a division of the University of Tennessee. The county has a similar advisory service called CTAS. MTAS came in, they looked at our utilities, they reported back to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We put together a working group. Kim Posey did an outstanding job from the city's perspective on putting that working group together and looking at the various pros and cons of doing a consolidation. We took a sample of what would happen if we just simply consolidated the billing, and we went through a consolidation of billing. It had its warts. There was a problem with a vendor. Worked through all that. I think now that that's finally kind of leveled out and sort of planed off, kind of trimmed out, I think now people are much more satisfied with the consolidated bill. And from the consolidation of billing, it looked like the natural step to take was to go on and consolidate the utilities themselves because of the potential cost savings. I think the original cost savings probably weren't there, but I think over time, as we look down at the bottom line on our operating statement with our consolidated utilities, I think we'll see that it's been a major move for the community.
Okay, you get to kind of answer some of your own question, Ray, because we're back to you over here in dealing with Gwen's question on consolidation, and you had ones very similar. So why don't we hear from you?
Well, having served on the gas board, and I'm not aware of any knowledge being made to the gas board about a consolidation. I served voluntarily on this committee that Mr. Hereford described there, went around city for the purpose of consolidated billing. was never, nothing passed along to us about consolidation of operations. That was done in one meeting. It was never identified. It was done in one meeting right before the decision made that night. My thing, running a business, you've got to, you talk about a cost savings. Nobody ever put together a plan such as a metro consolidation and present it to the people. This is what it's cost us now, and this is what we're going to save. I have not seen that. If it had, went right by my eyes. That's what's got people upset. We've consolidated. We don't even know what our cost is.
Okay, Walter, how do you respond to this one, sir?
Well, the consolidation has been and will continue to be a benefit to the ratepayer and to the community. This was not done behind closed doors. The work sessions that the city board has are published. The meeting schedule is there, and people are welcome to come, invited and encouraged to come. And as Mr. Hereford said, this is something that started with the board in '98 and continued for 5 years. The consolidation of the building, as he said, should have been an indication that the natural progression of this would have been to consolidate them. MTAS was consulted. They did a study for us and gave us a recommendation in regard to that. I think it has been a good move on our utility board part. I think it will continue to be as time goes along. I would say this, too, that if it was such a bad move and such a bad plan, then the award that the city received this past year across the state from the Tennessee Municipal League for doing this, for consolidation of the utility boards, would not be merited. And it was looked at and awarded in competition with 343 cities across the state of Tennessee, the work that they've done. And the Fayetteville City received that award from TML for that work this past year at their annual meeting.
Will there be some questions that you think should be asked to any administration, whether it be Fayetteville Public Utilities or to fire and police or whatever? Would you all like to propose questions? We don't have to do that on the air, but will you have specifics that will require some research and a possibility of at least answers? And I know it's sometimes hard to get everybody back out for another, but we might even do that individually or get the answers sent back to us and get the responses. Do you all have specific questions that you think should come before the public as far as direct questions to administrators of various, whether it be our portion of any operation within the city? Possibly? Okay. I'll be happy to take those questions, and we'll let the people do research, and then we'll let you.
Could I make a comment?
Absolutely, because we're not, I'm not bound to say we're not able to talk about it, because we can. But I'm going to give each person, Jim, we'll start with you, and just kind of an open response to what we're doing here.
First is I finally remembered what MTAS stands for. That's Municipal Technical Assistance Service. I thought my senior moment entered in there. But I think it's pretty obvious that we have an open system and not a closed system. If anybody's got a question, all they've got to do is go to the city, go to the Fayetteville Board of Public Utilities or Fayetteville Public Utilities and ask that question. And I was looking at a number of quotations on politics not long ago, and of all people that I looked at, Albert Einstein probably had one of the better statements. He said, "It is the duty of every citizen, according to his best capacities, to give validity to his convictions in political affairs." Well, in order to do that, you must be informed. Maybe we as a city government, maybe we as a Board of Public Utilities need to do a better job in informing the citizens. But then on the other hand, the citizens have got a duty also to seek that information, to create that, to fill that communication gap.
Well said. Right?
I'd agree with what he says, but if people don't know what's going on, they don't know what questions to ask. And, and that's, I don't know, are you ready for the questions? You ready for questions that people's interested in, or you?
That's something, if you feel like needs to be brought up right now, that'll be something we'll let you say.
As I travel around and throughout the community, the question is a free medical insurance for the board members at the gas station? Now, I think we need to know what the figures are and how they got there.
Okay, basically he would like to get some figures on board members' insurance, is correct?
And another question is all the travel expense.
Travel expense?
Yes, sir, for the board members.
Okay.
And their wives.
Okay. Anything else from the various departments? Anybody concerned with police or what else? Anything like that? Now, these are not closing remarks yet. Anything comes to mind, Gwen?
I think one good thing, Joe, is there's been some criticism of myself as a board member of Fayetteville Public Utilities. There's also been some criticism of Lynn Wampler as city administrator. I think it would be interesting to know just how much money Lynn Wampler saved the city and the county just recently in some solid waste negotiations, just to prove the merit of having someone engaged who is qualified for the position.
Can we get Mr. Wampler to probably come up with those figures for us? All right, that's fine. So we have some figures for travel and for the insurance from the gas. We have figures for savings on solid waste for Mr. Wampler. Anything else along this line we should research?
I think pretty much Jim has said a lot, but I think one key thing, he keeps saying communication with the taxpayer, but the people who elect us. And Ray made a comment, if they don't know what